Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and today we have an incredibly exciting breaking news LEGO video. The next original LEGO Minifigure Series, Series 24, has been revealed, launching on January 1st, 2023. Now, after a lot of complaints about the Costume Party series, which was Series 23, which kind of coincided with the 90th anniversary of LEGO but didn't really give us any retro throwback minifigures, this seems to be solving one of the biggest complaints about that series. Because for this brand new series, I think this may actually be one of, if not the best, collectible minifigure series in recent history. Because all of the different contents are so varied and diverse, and they focus on all sorts of different characters. From a new color for a classic Spaceman, to a redux of one of the 2008 fantasy-era Troll minifigures, there is so much cool stuff to see here, and I can't wait to show it to all of you. And so with that, let's just jump right into the lists themselves. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's go. So this is set number 71037. It is LEGO Minifigures Series 24, and they have 12 special new characters, which are really exciting. Now, personally, I do not have the official names for all of these characters as of right now. I've got basically a couple of them with official names, like the TRex costume fan, newspaper kid, and football referee, so I'll be just referring to them by whatever names that make sense to me, and then you can probably just go back and watch this video maybe later on when LEGO actually does reveal all of these images publicly. Then you can actually see the official images. So there are a lot of things to love here, a lot of really exciting stuff. This is definitely one of my most anticipated collectible minifigure series in a long time, especially because I was again a little disappointed by the previous collectible minifig series that were original, like Series 22 and especially 23, which I felt was timed at the perfect time to actually capitalize on the 90th anniversary, but unfortunately didn't really take advantage of it, instead intending to go for a seasonal costume party type thing, instead of actually just kind of reimagining some older LEGO favorites. But worry not, because we actually are getting a lot of really interesting throwback minifigures for this list, and of course a whole host of different unique characters as well. Starting off with the first one here, we have the Newspaper Boy. What could be maybe a concept that isn't too interesting is actually made to be a really fun and classic styled character, because he really does feel like a vintage era newspaper kid. With the special new mold for his hat, special dual molded arms with printing on the side, and even printing on the mid legs, this is a really nice and fun, charming character in and of itself. While he may not be the most exciting character on the list, I think this is a good character to flesh out the streets if you wanted to do like a 1970s or 60s style setup where you have some old-timey minifigures. This one fits right in, and I do love the reference to the classic LEGO policeman on his newspaper there, which of course is a callback to what was basically the first LEGO minifigure ever. We actually got that policeman remade for an older collectible minifigure costume series, so I guess it could be a reference to that as well. Next up on the list, we have another child character. This is a girl on a rocking horse. While to be completely honest, I think the figure itself is one of the most uninteresting CMFs we've gotten in a while, where the character literally just has kind of this regular shirt with a unicorn print on it, which I guess kind of looks like the classic LEGO horse, but doesn't really add that much in terms of the playability here, and just plain short legs as well as a face and hair that really feel like they could appear pretty much in just LEGO City. There's nothing really special about the expression or the hairpiece itself. What is special is the brand new mold created for the rocking chair, which of course is styled after the classic LEGO horse head. I really love this piece, and I would love to see it actually used in other sets. CMFs now tend to kind of be allowing their unique pieces to be used outside of just the collectible minifig series, especially as of recent years we've gotten like the gecko reappear. It kind of started with the fork and the bowl from the Ninjago movie CMF. LEGO designers had to really campaign to allow those to be used in standard sets, because in the past, specialized molds created for CMFs were exclusive to the minifigure series themselves. But now it seems that LEGO has gotten a little bit looser with it. We got the young horse mold in this year's LEGO City Advent Calendar after appearing in Series 22, so there's some hope that maybe they'll include this in, say, a reddish brown color or a dark brown color in a future set. All in all, kind of uninteresting minifigure with a great accessory. Moving on from that, we have the Queen here. Now this is a really cool fantasy, or kind of more modern fantasy and styled minifigure. Definitely feels like kind of a British Queen or something that you would see out of London, and I find it really interesting how the Queen is actually reusing the bottom skirt piece, which first originated with the Queen of several years ago. We got a collectible minifigure series that was literally the only time this piece was used. Now I kind of hope that they would actually use this again for maybe future castle stuff, which is why they've brought back the mold for this. I am sure the mold had long since been destroyed, so it is cool to see that Queen dress piece being used again in a completely different color, a pink one instead of a red one that was more of a classic castle queen. Now the hair piece itself is a brand new mold. It looks like it probably would be rubberized, although I'm not 100% sure. I love the detail on it. It's a very specific thing to get, and I also like that we got a little recolor of the Chihuahua style dog in white as well, which works out perfectly for that creature. Overall, though, I definitely feel that I probably would have personally preferred maybe a more medieval style queen, although we did already get one of those that was pretty much perfect, the classic king and queen from several years ago with the Collectible Minifig series, so this is a good representation of another character archetype we surprisingly haven't gotten from collectible minifigures before. Now moving on from that, we have what appears to be a clay worker or a sculpture artist right here. This is the first time we have seen pretty much that profession be reflected in the collectible minifigure series. We got some sculpture artists with the Ninjago City dock set, but of course that was kind of just a generic Ninjago civilian, whereas this one is specifically meant to be designed to be folding clay and kind of creating these specialized accessories out of clay, which is why they've actually recolored the bowl and the cup piece in this kind of clay orange-brown color, which is really cool to see this dark or burnt orange color. I do love the inclusion of these pieces in that color because they absolutely do look like clay that hasn't quite set yet, and I love the headpiece as well, having the wrap for the hair. That just looks pretty fantastic to me in terms of depicting a real-world thing, and even the facial expression is very unique. This is an example of a civilian figure done right. It may not be the most interesting civilian to get compared to the other fantastical minifigures on this list, but unlike the child with the rocking chair, which really just felt like it was something out of LEGO City and nothing more special, this feels like a lot more development went into it. There's dual molded arms, you've got a very specialized new expression with freckles, and a new mold for the hairpiece as well. Moving on from that, we have a Koala Guy. So obviously the highlight of this character is the little koala, which as you can see can be clipped onto a stock there, so you can actually clip this onto different rods, it appears, which is really, really nice to see. This is probably one of my favorite smaller animal characters in recent history, but I also like that they actually did a lot of effort in terms of sculpting the character itself from a dual molded hat and head combo piece, which is a recolor of what I believe to be an existing piece. It may be new though, don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure, but he also has dual molded legs and arms, with those legs being very, very useful for just all sorts of stuff, whether it be, say, adventures or some stuff where you just want minifigures wearing boots while exploring. This is a really well done figure, but obviously the highlight is the koala. There aren't a lot of really interesting things about it, although I do know those dual molded arms with the black and green would be very useful for a certain Ninjago Sigfig character, but overall this is just a good character to get overall, and I think it's a pretty decent addition to complement what is obviously the highlight being the koala. Moving on, we have one of my favorite characters on the list, and this is what appears to be a troll or orc warrior. Now, this is obviously a major reference and callback to 2008's fantasy-era trolls, with kind of a very similar logo for the large jaw with the underbite on the shield, but what they've done here is really interesting, because previously the fantasy-era 2008 trolls really just had the facial printing to represent their features, whereas we got a big fig-style troll with this large underbite, although their emblem did heavily emphasize this very large jaw. So what they have done is actually created a brand new mold for the troll itself with the white painted teeth there to really give him a very distinctive look and feel for the head. You really have a lot of personality coming across with this. Of course, he is just using the Chima tattered cape in red, which is good, and the sword itself, I probably could have gone for a new sword mold. This is still just the classic sword they've been using all the way back since the days of 07 and 08, but overall, the design of the character itself is just really good. Sure, it does feel maybe a little bit simplified compared to some of the stuff we've gotten before, especially with the logo on the shield and the chest. It just feels very simple to me. But simple does not necessarily mean bad, and what is really cool is that you can barely see it on this photo, but you can actually see it on some of the minifig turnarounds, and you can kind of see it in certain angles. This troll here actually has arm printing, so that is really cool and really just makes this figure feel extra special. I certainly will be getting a couple of these, if not 5+, to army build myself, because this is just such a cool and detailed figure to get. And moving on, we have yet another one of my favorites on this list. There's a lot that's standing out to me here, and that is the T-Rex costume guy right here. Now this is a no-brainer for the costumed minifigures, and to be completely honest, I'm kind of shocked they haven't given us one of these before. When we first kind of heard images and leaks of these series first coming out, this was one of the ones that I was most excited to see pictures of because there was a lot of potential to make a costumed character calling back to LEGO's now classic T-Rex design, and they absolutely delivered on it. This feels like a character in a Jurassic World T-Rex style costume come to life, and I really love just the way that this all comes together, with the head sculpt being incredibly reminiscent of the actual LEGO dinosaur sculpt that they use in their Jurassic World and Dino lines today, which is really fantastic. I like that he has two alternate expressions, one more ferocious and one just smiling, and of course he does have a custom new tail which appears to have some printing on the back. He also has some printing on the sides of the arms, and while the chest printing is very simple, that's really all you need basically for what is required for a character like this, with that headpiece easily being the standout for this character. Moving on, we have yet another standout here. This is the Black Falcon, well, Falconer, where you actually have a Falconer character with a specialized new mold for the Falcon itself. It's very similar to the kind of seagull mold that they have, but with slightly different wings that appears to me it might be the same one, but it looks a little different to me. Now, I kind of wish that this Falcon was in black and not dark gray. They are the Black Falcons after all, and there is a very, very prominent Black Falcon in the Ninjago TV series that is actually the animal colored in black, although dark gray is, I guess, fine. I would still love to see a black one for Ninjago though. And of course you actually have kind of a reimagining of the Black Falcon attire. We got a reimagining very recently with the medieval blacksmith, but this is another kind of character to be able to add to that army. Now this is probably the most, or maybe the second most anticipated character from the series for me, especially because I specifically am army building Black Falcons. They were always my favorite vintage classic castle faction growing up, or at least one of my favorites. The Dragon Masters are really cool too. And it is really cool to see so much love to the Black Falcons in modern times, with getting two different versions of reimagined outfits for them, which I think is really cool. They also recolored the bow in this kind of darker tan color, which is very realistic. That looks fantastic to me, and I love that they also have dual molded legs, which really complete the look and feel for this character. Now the character is just using kind of a standard hairpiece in red, which honestly I kind of wish that they had a slightly more interesting, maybe medieval styled hairpiece, or maybe even a helmet for this character that would have worked, but this isn't too bad. And obviously the rest of the characters, such as the dark blue cape, the dual molded legs that tie directly to Black Falcon, and of course that reimagined torso, more than make up for it for me in terms of the headpiece being just maybe not the most interesting. Moving on from that, we have this carrot suit guy. Now this is a carrot suit guy with a obviously large carrot, which is a special dual molded new element, holding a farmer's market sign with dual molded legs. Now honestly, this character is just kind of alright to me. You know what this character is missing? A carrot. You know what's especially odd? LEGO made a brand new carrot mold for Series 22 of the Collectible minifigures as the snowman's carrot on the top of his nose there. So I cannot fathom as to why they didn't just use that brand new piece, which they literally created for the previous CMF series, as an accessory for this one, which is the perfect minifigure scale LEGO carrot. Or if they didn't want to include that one, at least use the older one. I don't know. Feels very strange to have a guy dressed up in a carrot outfit, but not actually have a carrot on him. Still though, that being said, it is still nice to get this particular character. I like the farmer's market sign. That certainly will be very useful, and it kind of harkens back to some of the other pickup truck stuff that LEGO Creator is doing, and obviously LEGO City's farmer theme, he absolutely would fit in with the recent farmer sub-theme for LEGO City of 2022, so I think it's alright. I just feel like this character could have been so much more in terms of just including that one accessory, and I would imagine that the torso underneath isn't the most interesting as well. I definitely would have preferred maybe something else taking the slot though, because it's just not the most interesting to me. And if you're gonna get one costume character, I feel like most people will pick the T-Rex. But moving on, we have a character that actually is very, very interesting to me. This is a brand new color for the LEGO Classic Spaceman, just straight up as a standard collectible minifigure series entry in brown. Now this is really cool to get because 2023 is bringing us not one, but two brand new Spaceman colors. We got the purple Spaceman torso in this year's January Series 22 collectible minifig wave, although that came with an alien so it didn't have purple air tanks or the helmet, and a lot of people had to scramble to get a Knight's Kingdom purple helmet, which wasn't quite right just to use for that character. But they actually are putting out a 2023 Chinese or Lunar New Year celebration set, which does feature those actual pieces in purple for the air tanks and the helmet, so that is really fantastic to see that LEGO is doing that. And of course, we are now getting a brown one with a specialized new baby spaceman in blue. That is adorable. I am in love with that baby spaceman. That is obviously a brand new mold for the helmet going over the baby's head. I'm not sure if that is actually a piece that's compatible with the existing baby head, which doesn't really have any connections on the top of it, or maybe it is just supposed to be a special new molded piece. I guess we're gonna find out. But this is just such a charming character, and to spice it up a little bit, they added a special printed walkie-talkie as well with a sleeping classic spaceman, almost like a baby monitor for him, so that is just such an adorable look for this character, and I love that we are getting a new color for Spaceman. Now, LEGO's honestly kind of running out of colors to get. Purple and brown were really requested, and I don't know what other Spaceman colors they could do. Maybe a teal one. Now that would be really nice. Moving on from that, we have this, I don't know what to call this, a Power Rangers-esque robot or kind of some sort of an exosuit-like character. Now the concept behind this character, if you told me we were getting this character for a collectible minifig series, I would have been really excited, and I still really like it. I just feel like this just isn't quite there in terms of the design look and feel. He has a lot of very detailed printing on his dual molded legs and specialized printing on the arms, but then if you look at the torso, it almost feels just way too simplified, which honestly is kind of a complaint I have about this entire minifig series. The designs feel very simplistic, with the Queen's dress probably being the most intricate in terms of detail, and all the other designs for pretty much every other character on this list being incredibly simplistic and simplified, although maybe that's a style they're going for. However, the biggest con for this character to me is that the wings that kind of protrude out of his back are actually part of his helmet mold. So what's interesting is that the wings actually will pivot with his head. I guess they act as, I don't know, as special spikes on the side of his helmet. I would have much preferred a brand new armor piece because it feels very strange to have that be connected to the helmet for me. While his gun is very cool and unique, and I do like the general look and feel of the character, it is mixing in a lot of conflicting colors at once, from bright lime to sand green to yellow to white to black, and that very loud bright pink. And I'm not necessarily sure if all of the colors work well together. I feel like they could have taken out literally just one of the colors, maybe taken out, if you want to have pink as a highlight color, maybe reserve pink for the spaces that lime is in and make the rest sand green. I don't know, there's something about this where the color scheme just isn't quite perfect to me, but hey, that is just my opinion. I would love to hear yours, so let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my opinion. Just one that I feel had so much potential for a character like this, but ultimately fell short of my expectations, although it is still one of the cooler figures of this series. Lastly, we have a soccer referee, or I guess a football referee, depending on where you're from. She has yellow and red cards to hand out to players. She has a very appropriate face. I love that yelling face with the kind of microphone on it, of course with a whistle as well, although I would have loved to see an actual special molded whistle if you're gonna do this as a character, with of course some special sports-oriented prints around the sides of the legs, with some nice printing on the side of the legs as well. We'll have to see how well those white and keyed orange stripes look against the black. I'm not so sure how well those will look, but she does have dual molded arms and of course the standard LEGO soccer ball. I think this is a pretty good representation of the referee character. Maybe it could have used a little bit more. This doesn't introduce any new molds, although it is completely covered with printing on the sides of the arms and legs, so I guess that is nice. I just feel like there could have been just one more special thing about this character, especially compared to all the other characters, where literally every single other character in the series has a brand new mold, except for this character. Some of them even have 2 or 3 new molds. So this one just kind of feels more like an afterthought that they wanted to include, but maybe most of their budget was spent on the rest of the figures. Still, that being said, This is easily the best collectible minifigure series we have gotten in quite a long time, at least for me personally, and you may disagree. Whereas with the previous series of 22 and 23, there was maybe one, at most two characters that I really did like and the rest were just kind of okay. Especially with the recent series, I kind of felt like all of them were just a little bit okay, none of them really stood out to me. This has a ton of standouts to me, from the TRex suit, to the Orc or Troll, to the Falconer, to the brown classic Spaceman, and especially that koala mold and the queen. That's 6. Literally half of the series really is standing out to me as being very good, with about 5 or 4 of the characters being exceptionally good to me. Obviously, I'm very biased. I am one of those fans who really gravitates towards seeing vintage designs reimagined. So that obviously is affecting my opinion here, and I would love to see how other people react to this and if you feel the same way that I do. But to me, this is the 90th anniversary series we've been waiting for. Now, if only LEGO could take it to the next level and really honestly make an anniversary series. But maybe we'll have to wait to the 100th anniversary to do that, because just picture this. Let's say they take the brown Spaceman from this, they take the Black Falcon Falconer, and they take the Troll. That's 3 already. Now imagine if they gave us a minifigure Jack Stone, minifigure Nick Bluetooth, a minifig Tahu. Now obviously you see where my biases are, but even a new version of Johnny Thunder or his cast like Dr. Kilroy. We could see some characters from Exoforce reimagined. I think it would be so cool for LEGO to do an entire collectible minifigure series just based off of their older lines. Even do one of the LEGO Friends in minifigure form. I mean, really just go all out. They have the potential to do it. They have that much history now. Fingers crossed for the 100th anniversary, I guess. I'll see y'all in 10 years, or maybe the 95th if LEGO does celebrate that. I think that would be a really cool thing to get, but so far it is still very nice to actually get so many throwbacks to older LEGO stuff, and all in all, this is easily one of the strongest minifigure series in recent history, at least to me. Also, the packaging being in magenta or pink is very, very cool. I'm surprised that CMFs didn't do it before, and it makes perfect sense to me. I'm glad they're going with a very unique and vibrant color for this particular packaging style of the CMFs, and I cannot wait to see these on store shelves. With that, we have summed up our look at these particular minifigs, and I can't wait to actually have these in hand to see. As one final update to this video, we actually now, ahead of release, have the official names of all 12 minifigure series characters, so we can just quickly go through them now, starting with the T-Rex costume fan, which we already knew, the Rococo Aristocrat, which is a very specific archetype to showcase for this type of queen-like character here, the simply titled Robot Warrior, which I guess makes sense, the Potter, the Newspaper Kid, the Orc, which I am kind of surprised at being called the Orc and not the Troll, given it is clearly a reference to the 2008 Castle Fantasy era Trolls, the Football Referee, the Falconer, would have been cool to call it the Black Falcon Falconer, but I guess this is fine as well, the Conservationist, the Carrot Mascot, Brown Astronaut and Space Baby, that is one word, and Rockin' Horse Rider are the official names for all these 12 characters. Most of them are what I expected, some of them are a little bit interesting in terms of how specific they are in the descriptions, but there you have it, those are the official names for the Series 24 collectible minifigures. Alright, and with that, we have summed up our look at Series 24 of the LEGO Collectible Minifig series. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this series? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? What are your favorite characters? And are you excited for next year to be some of the first to get these brand new minifigures? I know I, for one, am incredibly pleased with the incredible selection of this series, and I'm very, very happy with the overall distribution of the types of figures, especially after, to be completely honest, I wasn't too impressed with the collectible minifigure series of this year. But 2023 looks to be solving a lot of those problems, and I cannot wait to showcase the minifigures for all of you. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duckbricks. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and bye for now.